Hello, everybody. Thank you for being part of this class again. My name is John from CyberWatch, and this class is powered by CyberWatch Hive. Yeah, today we'll be talking about scope, variable scope. All right, and as I have started early, later or lately, I have decided to always uh, jot down some things, so what we're going to be going through so as to save our time. All right, so this will make the video to be shorter, okay, and easier for us to actually go through watch online. All right, so variable scope, variable scope, what we'll be talking about where a variable is, whether it's visible and accessible. All right, the scope of a variable is actually where a variable when a variable is visible and accessible. All right, so and we'll be talking about scope resolution also. I'll be talking about this acronym LEGB, which actually means local, enclosed, global, built-in. Okay, built-in. And now what we need to know here, I wanted to say let's go down to start doing something that will now understand this thing all together. Okay, but now there is a law that when there is a variable, okay, you're going to actually understand this thing later, all right, better. Now you have the system or Python will now look for local variable first. Then after that, if the variable is not available in local, it will now go to enclosed. If it's not available in enclosed, it will now go to global. Then if it's not available as a global variable, then it will now actually look for built-in variables that are like that. Okay, so let's quickly come here, all right, and let me comment those lines. All right, let's comment these lines. I could comment out these lines actually. So now we'll see I have two variables here. We have two variables here, functions here, and we have uh also two variables a and b. Now we have function 1, function 2, and I named them func1, func2. All right, so if I go ahead and run it, you see that function 1 is going to be printed out as 1, function 2 will be printed out as 1. We are aware about this already, which is even what made me to start typing these things out. Since we're not learning all these things are new, we know them, we know our functions already, we know our onions already. So this is function 1, all right, and in function 1 we have a to be equal to 1 and we are just printing a. The same thing applies to function 2. We have b to be equal to 2 and we are printing b. And at these lines, okay, line number 18 and 19 is we're calling those two functions, as we all know already, that when we call them this way, or this is how we call them, and when we call them, they are going to be printing what they have, okay, which is a 1 and 2. Okay, excuse me. Now, so that's actually how we all know to declare of function, to create our functions and print things out. Okay, this is a very basic operation. Okay, now we need to know that variable a here, okay, is local to function 1, and variable b here is local to function 2. Like I said here, local, this is what I'm talking about now. So when I do call local, I should know that it's L. When I go ahead and call enclosed, now is this. When I say global, is this, like this, the way it works. Okay, now this is a local variable to function 1. This is a local variable for function 2. All right, so if we rename both a and b to x, like I do x here, all right, a is x, and here I say print x, all right, and b here also x, and I say print x. All right, if I go ahead to print it, see, it will still work well. It will still print 1 and 2. there's no error because this x is actually local to function 1, and this other x is actually local to function 2. Right? That's why I say it will still work very well since they are local, they are both local to each function. All right, they are both local to each function, so nothing goes wrong here. So let's comment out this line, all right, and move over to enclosed. Okay, enclosed. Now, example of enclosed scope is when you have one function declared within another function. All right, like we have this. We have this. All right, let me uncomment that. All right, and let me come here and give a little bit of space, here also. All right, now we have def function, all right, like the same function that we have here. All right, so we have def function 1, meaning we have our first function here. All right, but the second function is declared inside the first function, which is function 2. Look at it here. All right, so instead of we having, let's say, instead of we having this, okay, instead of we having this, like function 1, function 2, so what we're going to be having is this function will be moved in, all right, to be part of this above function. So let me now pull them together this way. That first gap is nothing at all. It's nothing at all. Okay, then in that case we'll go ahead and remove this line. Okay, this function 2. All right, we'll remove this line, okay, which is function 2. So now if I go ahead and do, okay, in that case, let's name this one let's say x also. Let's name it x. All right, so in function 1, x is equal to 1, so let's bring x here. And in function 2, which is part of the function 1, which is this function 2, now is enclosed, okay, meaning it's enclosed in function 1. So if I go ahead and do x, and here I do x also. All right, and you notice that if I do call, if I call both function down here like I did it was before, and I deleted one, you can't even see the function 2. Let me, in case your mind was not there, let me do it again. If I say function func 2, right, you see that it has a red gibberish on the line, okay, there. So it means you can't even see that function anymore, which is this function 2, because it's part of function 1. It means this function 2 is enclosed, all right, is enclosed within function 1. It's like function 2 has been picked and locked inside of function 1. All right, let's say a function um a function 1 is a house, function 2 is John. Okay, when you pick John and you keep John inside the house of function 1 and you lock the door, it means nobody can access John anymore. Nobody can bring food to John. Nobody can talk to John. All right, everywhere is locked up. Okay, that's what is actually happening here. This is John here. Okay, locked in a house in function 1, which is the house. Right, everywhere is locked. That's why when we try to call function 2, which is John, John cannot hear us. All right, so that's a practical example or analogy to that. Okay, so and in this case, printing X here, we have to now come here. Since we can't have call function 1 outside, we have to come outside of function 2, all right, but we still within the function 1 to now call function 2 this way. All right, so now like we know from here already, I told us, that's why I had to explain a little bit about this LEGB. Okay, that is local, enclosed, global, and built-in. All right, that's what it means, nothing else. Okay, now local, it will search for it will search for it means it will search for a local variable first. All right, then after that it will now go to enclosed. It means here, where is the local variable, which x is the local variable, is the local variable x to function 1 is 1. All right, is 1. That's the value of the local variable. Let's go ahead and run this code and see what we'll have. You see, we have 1 and 2. It means it will check for the local variable first and prints it before it goes ahead to check for the enclosed variable, which is what this thing means. Check for local first before it goes to enclosed. So if I come here and I change this value to 2 and I change this value to 1, all right, sorry, to 1, and I run it, see, you're going to have 2 and 1. It means it will check for the local variable first before it goes to check for the enclosed variable. All right, so now and that's why, like I say, when you print it, it will print the local variable first before it prints the enclosed variable. All right, now one thing else again that we need to know, this is actually a very advanced topic, okay, but at least it's good you should be aware of it. All right, it's good you should be aware of it. Okay, let's still check something here before we go ahead. Let's say we have within this local variable, sorry, within this, where we declare our x. Okay, you know, it checks for local variable first, right? So let's go ahead and either remove or let's comment out that line where we have x for that local variable. All right, let's comment it out. Okay, it's marking x already, so if you print, you should have an error. Okay, so let's now go back and um, actually bring it back. All right, that way. Okay, but let's say okay, let's actually remove this. Okay, let's comment out this, let's comment out that. Okay, and if I go ahead and print, you see that we have only 2, because we can't actually, there is no printing of the first variable, okay, of the local variable. So it will now go ahead to the, what do we call it, to go ahead to the enclosed variable to print the x. Like I said, this is actually an advanced topic, okay, but at least it's a good thing you know about it. So now let's go to the global scope. All right, so let's go ahead and uncomment this line. Okay, so now we have 2 functions also. All right, the 2 functions actually has x. All right, it has x, all right, declared. Let's also uncomment this one. All right, and we have x declared in both of these functions, and here we have another x declared outside. All right, outside of the 2 local variables x. All right, so like I said, if we have local variables, all right, if we have local variables, that one will be considered first. All right, after the local variable, it will now go to enclosed variables. Okay, so let's go ahead and print this out. You see that we have 1 and 2. It considered those local variables first, that it printed this and printed this when we call function 1 and function 2. All right, let me put a space between this. Okay, now let's say we do not have any variable x within the functions, so no local variable x. All right, it's not in function 1, it's not in function 2, we only have x outside here, outside both of the function. It makes this very line. Okay, let me write something. Okay, let me say this is a global variable, sorry, variable. All right, oh sorry, this is a global variable, since it's declared outside outside the since it's declared outside both functions. All right, both functions. Full stop. Okay. Okay. I need to add one more thing. The location. The location doesn't. Okay. The location. Okay. Let me just say don't matter. Don't matter. Let me just say that there. Okay. So what I'm actually trying to say is I can carry this and put it here at the beginning of the function to still pick it up. Okay. Let's go ahead and try it here. All right. Okay. Before we even try that, let's even run it and see. So now that we have commented out these declarations in each of the local variables, let's go ahead and run. You see that we have 1990. Okay, meaning it's actually print using the global variables now. Okay, let's clean sorry, let's delete the 0 and run it again. You see that we have 99. All right, why? Because we called the functions twice here. Okay, here and here we call the functions twice, right? That's why the first function will use this one to print 9. The second one will use this one to also print 9 also. Okay, like I wanted to do, let's change the location of the global variable. Okay, let me just say x is equal to 9 here also. Okay, let me just say x is equal to 10. All right, and I run it, you see 10 10. So the location of the global variable do not actually matter. All right, do not actually matter. So let's go ahead and comment out this whole line right down here, and let's now go to built-in variables. Okay, built-in. Let's go and uncomment those lines. Now let's go ahead and use from math import e. We already know that. Okay, from math import e. So let's go ahead and now create a function which is func1. All right, def func1, and all we do within the function is just to print e. And when we go ahead and actually print e, all right, e, which is a built-in variable, actually prints 2.71828182845945 there. All right, so now let's now, from what we know actually, okay, like I said, from what we know here, when the global is checked, when all these guys are checked accordingly, and none of them has any interference with the variables, that's when the built-in will kick in and work. So let's go ahead and redeclare or reassign e here to be, let's say, 10. All right, let's reassign e to be 10. If I bring this thing here, let's check what it's saying. Say redeclare, you see, redeclared e definable without usage. Okay, you see. So let's now go ahead and print just by declaring that. Now e here is a global. Okay, let me say sorry, let me actually say e on this line is a global variable. Global variable. Okay, so let's go ahead and print it. You see that e is now 10. Like I said, e at this point has been redeclared. All right, it has been redeclared. Now e is no longer 2 points whatsoever that it was. Okay, but since we redeclared it, now global variable at this point is redeclared here as a global variable. So the global variable is taking precedence, which is what is happening. Actually, I actually tried to pass across here. Now before, there was no global e. Okay, so built-in variable kicked in. Let's go back there, but let's go back there again. Say there was no e, so let me comment out that e. You see that this one kicked in, but as soon as there is a presence of a global variable e, if we go ahead and print, you see that it's taking that global variable e. All right, so you notice that e has been reassigned and it's taking the new value. Okay, now it's taking the new value. So actually the new value here that we use is 10. So because of the local, enclosed, global, and built-in variable scope. Okay, so basically that is it about variable scope. All right, and like I say, variable scope is when a variable is visible, or where it's visible and accessible. We have the scope resolution, how to actually resolute the way the variables can be used, okay, so that there won't be clashes, there won't be interference. All right, so that's why this thing is built in within the Python interpreter, okay, or Python engine, so that whenever there's a local variable, it takes precedence. Even if they are enclosed global built-in, it won't work, okay, until there is a local variable, with the same variable name, mind you. All right, so if there is no local variable, enclosed variable takes precedence, then like that, global to built-in. And thank you very much, and I hope you understand this very well, okay? And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. You can reach me by commenting under this video, okay? Comment under the video your questions, and also you should always try, okay, and build a habit of giving this video a like, okay, a thumbs up, so that it will help the channel actually. Thank you very much, and see you in the next class. Bye for now.